Hola a todos, and welcome to week 2. So, I am aware that week 1 was not as smooth as we wanted it to be, but I figured I'd make a video and just give some information, kind of answer some questions that I had gotten through email, and try to make sure that week 2 goes a little bit more smoothly. First, to reiterate, I sent all of my in person classes, the students of those classes, I sent an email telling you which day and or week you would be attending. Please make sure and attend on those days. For my Tuesday Thursday class, you either attend Tuesday or Thursday, and for my hybrid Wednesday only class, I separated that into even and odd weeks. Of course, odd being week 1, 3, 5, 7, etc., and even weeks being week 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And remember, this is week 2 as this is the second week of class. Just a little bit of a recap on what we talked about last week in class. We went over the syllabus, so I highly recommend you access that syllabus. Of course, you had to do the syllabus acknowledgement, so I'm assuming that you have looked at the syllabus. The syllabus answers a lot of questions such as where you can locate things, which assignments are due, the order in which they are due. Okay, so one of the first problems that I've seen with the way the Blackboard is organized is if you go to the grades section, it shows past due dates for all of the assignments. That is because when the Blackboard course was originally created, those were the assignment due dates. So please don't use the grade section of Blackboard to find out when assignments are due, at least for the assignments in Mastering Astronomy. It is correct for the journal entries because it allows me to change that, but for the actual assignments in Mastering Astronomy, that's a little bit more challenging to change. And I've been working on it, but I haven't been able to get all of those changed, so you don't want to use that. Okay, how can I find my textbook? Of course, that's in Mastering Astronomy, and then Pearson eText. How can I find my assignments? That's in Mastering Astronomy, Mastering Assignments. Now, when you get to the Mastering Assignments page, it's in List View, and it just shows them in any order, not specifically the order that they're due, and I don't necessarily like that. So you can always switch to Calendar View, and it will show you the specific dates that your assignments are due. So feel free to switch to Calendar View. And of course, if you don't want to switch to Calendar View, you can just check the syllabus where it has the accurate dates that everything is due. There should also be a section in Blackboard called Course Schedule, but I don't have it on all of my Blackboards right now, which is why I attached the course schedule to the syllabus itself, so you can just look at that. So feel free to check that out. Last week in class, we talked about chapter 1 in the book. Please remember that it goes by chapters, so all of the homework assignments directly correlate with a chapter in the book. Homework assignment 1, chapter 1. Homework assignment 2, chapter 2. So anytime you feel super confused on what you might need to know, you are able to check out the chapters in the book. So we started on chapter 1, and of course I'm not looking at my notes right now, but if I recall correctly, the beginning of chapter 1 talks a lot about your position in the universe, where we are. So it starts off with distance measurements, introducing the idea of a meter. But it very quickly moves to larger scales. The first astronomical distance unit that we talked about is the astronomical unit. The astronomical unit is going to be the average distance from the Earth to the Sun. And if you want to convert that to more understandable units, an astronomical unit is equal to 150 million kilometers. An astronomical unit is equal to 150 million kilometers. So that would be 150 times 10 to the 6 kilometers, if you will. So even astronomical units is not going to be quite big enough for what we're going to deal with in this class sometimes. So we also introduced or began to introduce the idea of a light year. Now remember, a light year is a unit of distance, and it is specifically the distance that light travels in 1 year. So remember, a light year is not a unit of time, it's a unit of distance, and it is the distance that light travels in 1 year. That is 9.46 times 10 to the 12th kilometers, are 9,460,000,000,000, etc. kilometers. So it's very far. We also talked about our galaxy, and we call our galaxy the Milky Way galaxy. But for more information about that, please, of course, check Chapter 1 and the lecture slides, which are also on Blackboard. The last thing I wanted to address today in this short video, well, no, second to last thing, don't forget your journal entries. Now, you may wonder when journal entries are due. Of course, you can check the syllabus, which has a course schedule on it, and you know that there's a journal entry due every Friday. At the end of week 1, journal entry 1 was due. At the end of week 2, this week, journal entry 2 will be due. So go ahead and get that done. And of course, at the end of week 3, journal entry 3 will be done. So it follows along quite nicely for that. If you want to know, again, the exact dates, check that schedule on the syllabus. You got it. Okay, now the last thing. I want to talk about this lunar observation calendar, because I've had quite a few questions about that. The lunar observation calendar is going to be where you will just draw how the moon looks in the sky for 28 days. Now, people often say, but Mr. Palmer, where do I get one of these lunar observation calendars? Google lunar observation calendar. It will pop up many different pages, like just rectangular pages with 28 or more blank circles in it. That's all you need, right? As long as you don't hand draw the calendar, it's good enough for me. I will try to link one in the page a little later, or link one on Blackboard a little later, or maybe even send you a link to it, but I will try to help you find one. But if you don't want to wait for me to send that link, just Google lunar observation calendar. So the assignment itself is straightforward. What you'll do for 28 days in a row is go outside, look at the moon, and then draw it in a circle, right? There's a little circle there, a blank circle on the page. You will draw what you see when you look at the moon. There's a light part and a dark part. So usually what I do is just shade in the dark part, because you want the light part of the moon to be light on the paper. You'll write down the time of your observation, and you'll write down the date. This is how we'll verify if your observations are accurate. I assume that we all live in the Kentucky area, so I know or have access to what the moon will look like each night. So if you write down a certain time, I know what the moon should look like, its orientation, and if you write down the date, it will help as well. So please make sure and do that. It's a very straightforward assignment, just 28 days in a row, go outside and observe the moon. Now, I hear the questions, Mr. Palmer, what if I can't see the moon? Are you outside at the right time of day? Is the moon out currently? Mr. Palmer, how do I know that? You'll want to use every resource that you have access to figure out if the moon is out and when it will be out that day. Remember, we do live in an information age, and so all of this information you have access to. Utilize all of your resources. But Mr. Palmer, what if it's super cloudy and I can't see the moon that day? Again, use all of your resources to find out how the moon looks that day. Now, you don't want to do that all the time, but if you have to, you have to. Since I do grade this assignment on completeness, so you want all 28 of those drawings. And so I think that's all right as an introduction to the assignment. When is it due? It's due by the last day of class. When should I start? Whenever you want to. Now sounds like a good time to start. As long as you still have 28 days left in the semester, you still have time. Of course, on November the 7th, I believe, you will no longer have 28 days. So if your first date is November the 7th, and I know that you didn't start in time, so what you're turning into me is BS. So no grade for that. So just get it started now. I think that would be the best thing, to just go ahead and get it started now, or maybe in a week or two. I hope that answers any questions. If you have questions after this, please email me. This week we are going to finish up chapter 1, I believe, start on chapter 2. I'll probably be making more videos and more updates. I found out that the recordings that I'm making for class can't be viewed by students for some reason, unless I specifically invite every student to a specific meeting, which I didn't do. So I'll try to figure that out, or find another way to record. But for now, guys, just keep trying your hardest. Nothing that you've missed yet is going to negatively affect your grade greatly. So try to relax. Send me emails if you have questions. We'll make it through this together. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.